Welcome to the Bladtcast. Continuing, never stop, never stopping, celebrating 500 episodes. Where, Will, I think that it's catching on that the Bladtcast is known for what? What were we saying?
I don't. What
I
were
know
we?
we just said it. Good times
Good
and
times.
good talk.
Good times
We're
and
here
good
for
talk.
good
That's right.
times.
Yes.
We're also here for good talk. We're providing both at every turn. As always, I'm Christian Blatt, remembering to wear the shirt, but going even a little further, having a little sip
Oh,
of water out of my Blackcast mug,
I have
which, Will,
both.
I'm going to assume yours hasn't survived the moves.
No, I have both still. I think they're both in storage though.
Wait, why did I give you two?
No, I have a shirt and a mug.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't give anybody two
No,
mugs,
no.
and this will
Unless
be
it
the
was the
embarrassing
guy.
part. Jeff, did I never give you a mug?
I honestly don't know. I know I have
Yeah,
the shirt, but it doesn't fit me anymore
because you're so jacked.
because I'm so fat. Yeah.
That's what I meant. And of course, we'll say hello to the world famous Blackcast bell, which is engraved to commemorate episode 100, which
Crazy that
was,
you've done that 4 more times.
yeah, because that was more than enough. Everybody was like, all right, hey, you got to 100. I don't know that I'll ever listen. Good for you. And then you just, it's almost 10 years now. That's the crazy part is
Yeah.
500 episodes, almost a decade. And as I always like to say, dozens of listeners. And honestly, that's all I ever looked for. But I am very glad to have the occasion to chat with both of you again. Now, people got to see and hear you earlier this week in a pair of episodes that we recorded, like, I don't know, a month ago, because Blackcast 500, let's say, was a little delayed. We ended up with a great big star, a Saturday Night Live legend, John Lovitz, on episode 500. There had been an earlier plan, which will still happen, but let's just say someone else got way too busy for her Blackcast 500. And I held out for a couple weeks, hoping that they would slow down and not be so busy guest hosting Jimmy Kimmel, which honestly, which one of those two things would you rather do, Jeff? Guest host Jimmy Kimmel or be a guest on the Blackcast for the first time? I'm afraid of your answer, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Option C.
Oh, yes. The knitting needles in your eyes and then into your ears. Yes, that would be the option C.
Yeah, I mean, that's another way of putting it. I was going to say hang out with the Centibites from Hellraiser.
New Hellraiser coming very soon. Have
Yeah.
you guys seen the images? And
Isn't it Hellraise her?
That is
love that.
accurate.
I
I've only seen like a
love that.
picture of her as Pinhead.
Yeah. And look, we're getting some great reaction here from
Oh.
Lynn B, who is just
Lynn
excited
B.
to see you.
Wow.
And Dominicus Saxon makes the point that Cenobites are just misunderstood. I said misunderstood. So
But I also
Mr.
like that you
Understood.
said Cenobites like Irish. You like Cenobites.
Cenobites.
Or Scottish.
Hey, the Irish are having a field day on Twitter the last 24 hours. They're really sowing their oats. And you know what I said was I wanted to get Blackcast 500 out when it was ready, but I said I will not post Blackcast 500 until Charles is king. And it was off by a few days, but clearly I knew it was coming.
Very close.
And I think that people come to us for our thoughts on the monarchy and the changing of it, and it doesn't really impact my life other than how funny I always thought it would be on Kids in the Hall when Scott Thompson would dress up as the Queen, and they would just do little bits, and she mostly would just go hello. That was that was the joke, is that's all she ever did. I can understand the positive / negative impacts a lot of people have, but Queen doesn't. The Queen really didn't impact my money. But God, how long is it going to take countries where she didn't even live to now reprint all their money, like in Canada and Australia? That's the way I look at it. It's and ooh, couldn't you at least put like a remotely more handsome person on your money than even in his prime, Charles?
True.
You know, yeah, I think it'll just have a close up of his face on the one side and his ears on the back. I'm not really sure.
Maybe they'll use the picture of him from Epstein Island.
Well, that's Prince Andrew.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
my bad. Same
Yeah.
place, same
So
family.
you have to keep track of the royal family. You have to remember which one cheated on his wife, which one was a pedophile, you know, allegedly, I guess I'll say.
I'll be honest, I don't know any of them at all. I've never given a shit about the British monarchy in any way. Like, really, it's the most pointless thing that's ever existed.
I'm gonna try and in the back of my mind, I'm gonna try and come up with something more pointless. But yeah, look, we're 246 years deep in not having to care about the British monarchy here. So USA. I wish I had that Kid Rock song to start playing.
Oh man,
in the
yeah,
with like the big loud bombastic chorus. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
That's a fun memory. In any case,
man, fuck Fauci.
It is in there.
Yeah.
And by the way, Dominicus Saxon will factor into this episode in a little bit. We learned, I don't know, a couple hundred episodes ago to not try and have him appear on camera because he doesn't want to be seen. But we appreciate him being in the chat. He's got chips and homemade salsa at the ready. This is a cameo-filled episode, and I build it that way because there may be cameos from other people who show up, but honestly, we don't need anybody else apart from the three of us. But there are cameos that have been purchased by members of the Bladtcast Nation. People out in the audience have been kind enough. And there's one that didn't actually, we'll talk about it when we go through them. There's a surprising one that I guess declined the $50 or whatever it was. But some truly random selections, and I'm excited to share them with you all a little bit later. I don't know. I don't have real passionate feelings about Queen Elizabeth, other than that's a long time to not want to leave a job. That's 70 years. And like Charles has to look around and just think like, well, I got this for like 20 tops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no way I got it more than that. And, you know, just sitting around, I've seen some, obviously plenty of mean-spirited memes, but some funny ones. There was like 73-year-old man finally gets a job, you know, things like that. Do you have any thoughts on it, Will? Jeff is on record for it being pointless. I'm sure that the Doctor has met the Queen at some point in all the incarnations, right? I don't remember I mean, I remember Churchill, of course, but I don't remember them actually meeting the Queen.
Maybe in some first through sixth Doctor, they met the Queen, or seventh could have been Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, Sylvester McCoy with the with all the with the umbrella,
yes,
possibly. Maybe Colin Baker handed a celery stalk over to her.
And a stupid coat. I think it's pointless as well. I don't really understand it. Like the Prime Minister really kind of acts as figurehead, and she or he can veto or not veto if they really want to, but for the most part, they don't do anything besides just be like a rich family, which I never understood the Kardashian obsession. And people are like, oh, it's almost like our monarchy. It's kind of like people love to see rich people just being rich. It's weird.
Well, you know what the claim to the monarchy is, right?
What's that?
The essential, the reason they're the monarchs of Britain and all this shit is they claim that they are direct descendants of Jesus.
Oh,
naturally.
I saw it go back to like, I don't know, Alexander the Great or Charlemagne or something, but I didn't know it went all the way back to Jesus. Mm-hmm. But so I didn't realize that. That makes sense actually, because when I see any member of this family, I think of Jesus Christ Superstar and a young, fit Ted Neely being crucified at the end, and how much they all look just like him. You know, I mean, what a handsome family.
Long hair, the beards, the chiseled abs.
Yeah. I mean, when there were all the there was news on it at the cheesesteak place I was at. That's why I was watching some of the coverage, and I was like, wow, Jake Tapper is already in London. They knew. They must have sent him the night before. They're like, you got to get on the
Well,
plane.
they like last week they were saying like she has mobility issues. She's stuck in this like room somewhere, and I was like, so mobility issues meaning you can't get anywhere. You're
Yeah.
So I was like, that sounds like probably more than mobility issues, but okay.
Yeah. It would be like, season 2 of Netflix's The Punisher. It would be like episode 13 when you're like, hasn't he died like 5 times? And he stands up one more time, and then he finally lays down, and you're like, all right, we're gonna have to leave Frank on the ground for a little while.
He takes too much punishment. That was my one critique of that show.
There's a little bit too much. Yeah, you're like, you know what? I could use a little bit less punishment.
Less punishment, yeah.
Does it have to be so punishing?
He takes so much. It's not possible that he could do the things he does.
Yeah, and but anyway, as I was seeing the coverage, there were pictures of like Charles and his siblings when they were younger, and when they should have been at their most attractive, and I was like, ooh, yikes! There might be a case to be made against inbreeding, regardless of how high your stock is.
That's why...
bless William and Harry, because their mom was hot. That was able to help them out. That she came from a little bit further outside of the circle. But I wish our pal from across the pond, Craig Robinson, had checked in here. He's actually in the UK, and I would, I think even someone who doesn't consider themselves a royalist or a fan of the monarchy, it's like supposedly like 10 days, nothing is going to happen there in the UK. So our pal Salman just got back from a little soccer trip there, and he was like, thank God I got back this week, because you would have had nothing. There would have been nothing to do while you were there. In any case, that was not why we decided to get together today. Because episode 500 was the big Love It's Spectacular, which hopefully everyone's had a chance to check out, and people, oh my gosh, look at this. Craig Robinson, ask and ye shall receive. I'm listening. All tickety boo here, fellas. Will, you speak British better than I do. Do you know what that means? Because I don't.
I have no idea.
Can you?
Sounds like all good.
You're not even in the house with your Craig. I feel like your Craig would actually be like, do you speak British?
Yeah.
He probably does. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everyone's here. Glad the fellas on the screen and everybody in the chat. That's always fun. The last episode that was posted was designed to be our 2 minutes hate, like 1984, because I really thought that Will was hating everything. And it was really just like, there's just a lot of like shit that is like not as good as you want it to be. So you don't care. You weren't really as angry as I wanted you to be. But that was recorded like a month ago. You angry about anything yet in the pop culture?
There's some things I'm not watching.
That you're not watching or now watching?
I'm not watching to avoid being angry. Yeah.
What the news? That's a good one. She-Hulk. Yeah.
What's the other Star
Rings
Wars
of
thing?
Power?
The Ando Calrissian.
That's not on yet.
I know, but I'm going to avoid that.
Ando Calrissian.
I'm avoiding that.
I actually wish that was that character's name. Ando Calrissian.
I can't remember the guy's name. I don't know.
Cassian Andor. Yeah, come on. Jeff's like, come on. But that was inarguably a good Star Wars movie, Rogue One, except you didn't like it because you're like, no, I know what's happening.
Yeah, I don't need that story. I know.
Yeah.
Just like Will, I'm not going to watch the movie about a Hispanic character in Star Wars because fuck that shit. White people only.
You're right. I'm actually a racist Star Wars fan, just like all those other guys.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. And you won't watch She-Hulk because you don't just hate women; you specifically hate green women, and that's why you've never watched the pilot of Star Trek either, because there's the green dancing chick in it. I know, in production order. Yeah, but you stopped. You didn't get that far into the show.
I haven't. I stopped on season 3. I was so close, and I got like 15 left, and I think I gotta close it out one day.
Yesterday was Star Trek Day. That would have been a good day to do it.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I told you that I don't think She-Hulk is going to win you over, but it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's like, I'd say it's the most episodic of the Marvel shows because it's like, well, she's a lawyer. So like this week, Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme.
It's a terrible show. Each episode is worse than the last. It's just bad. It's an awful show. It's really bad, honestly. Like, it's terrible. And
is it terrible from a storytelling standpoint?
Yeah.
Or I hate women's standpoint?
No, it's terrible because every week they start a story that ends before it gets interesting. And then it's like, that's the end of that one. On to the next episode next week. You'll be equally disappointed or more. It's
but what about the fact that her dad is cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers?
I don't even know what that is.
That's why I said it, because I knew you wouldn't. Well, here's the thing.
It's just not an interesting. Nothing about the stories that they've done have been interesting. Like literally this last week, they try to pretend they're a law show and then just don't follow the law at all. It's fucking stupid. Like we have a court trial where we're going to call a witness who's literally comes through with a drink, like from a party, like they're drunk. So it's like,
her
you know,
name's
that
Madison with a Y, and it's not where you think.
But it's just like, you're going to bring in somebody to testify who's drunk, which therefore makes their testimony inadmissible when we're pretending that we care about the law by going into a fucking courtroom. It's absolutely ludicrously stupid.
I hear you. I hear you. Dominicus Saxon is actually enjoying it. I know because he pops in on our Marvel show. It's the show that's most suited to be 34 minutes at most. I think it works in the confines they've created for it. But I don't know. Here's the thing. I didn't want anything more with She-Hulk. I was not expecting to get anything more. Just like a fourth Thor movie, I didn't expect more than what I got. So my standards are almost non-existent at this point. But they'll be surprisingly high for Black Adam, which the more I see,
you're so ready to hate that movie.
Hey, Warner Brothers only has enough money to release 2 movies this year, and that's one of them. So,
is there another trailer or something?
There was another one yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I can smell what The Rock is cooking.
Yeah.
And I think he put a couple dashes of feek in there. So we'll see though. You know me, I sit down, especially if I've spent the money to see a movie and I don't get to see Warner Brothers movies for free. So I will have to pay. I always want to enjoy it. If I'm going to a movie, I want to see it. I want to enjoy it. I want to have fun. And the only way I was able to enjoy the Batman was, as Will remembers, I didn't start eating my popcorn until 90 minutes in because I didn't want to have to go to the bathroom for the whole movie. Where are we at on the Batman? Like now that we're almost a year removed from it, I thought it was all right. But you had a lot more time to think about it. Have either of you considered rewatching it? It's been on HBO Max for a while.
I think I watched it again. It was I don't hate it, but I just think at the end of the day, you endeavored to make a Batman detective movie where Batman wasn't a very good detective. And so it was just like at the end of this, if it doesn't go into the next movie being like, wow, I'm really ashamed of myself for not fucking living up to being the world's greatest detective because I didn't solve any of Riddler's shit. He got away with exactly what he wanted to up to the point he was in jail. And then I didn't prevent a bunch of people from dying. Literally the only growth he made was he now works with the community versus them fearing him. That's the only character growth of the entire 3-hour movie, and that's a waste of time for a detective movie.
Also, Alfred was Gollum. So
you didn't like Gollum, Alfred?
But again, it's the movie itself was fine. The action, the things, it was an interesting movie. I still think the rain stuff was just like overly emo and ridiculous, right? Like the scene where he's literally looking down with his hair in his face, mega emo, being like, "Let me talk to Falcone." It's just one of the worst scenes in the movie. But it's not just like a terrible movie. I'd watch it and be fine with it, but I wouldn't see it and go like, wow, they really got Batman right. because it was like you didn't seem to understand who Batman was. If you wanted to have him go this route, then we should have had, instead of a bullshit bye-bye motorcycle ride, we should have had him talking to Alfred about, like, I can never let this happen again. Too many people died because I wasn't sharp enough. So, like, I really have to double down on being a great detective. But we didn't get that. We just got, like, kiss. It's just stupid.
But there was a lot of Nirvana music. Our pal, actually just one song, Dominicus Saxon. I sort of liked Sparkly Vamp Boy as Batman, even though he was totally useless, sort of, but hated him as Bruce. Yeah, that was what I didn't think should have been a hot take in that moment, but it was. Will, have you considered going back in on the Batman, or maybe when there's the inevitable sequel, maybe you'll refresh your memory at that time?
Casey's been, she said she'd like to watch it at some point, but we haven't gotten around to it. But like, I will rewatch it like with her.
And you've been back in California for 2 months now or so.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm no closer to meeting this alleged spouse of yours.
She just moved back. We got a new apartment we're going to be moving into on Monday.
Okay. So she's left the desert behind.
She's got to fly out actually on Monday morning for 2 days to give her a final presentation.
Okay. So already the excuses. It's all right.
I know.
It's fine. maybe just sometime where we're recording, you just drag her on camera for a minute. I know Jeff's met her, so I know that he would never be part of a big conspiracy. So I have to believe that she's real, but part of me just refuses. She's Maris Crane, I mean, not the character traits.
See, I was gonna say.
Oh, and joining Coltrane in to mention this is our pal Coltrane, who says he met her. And Coltrane has received an invitation, by the way, to join us if he's able. But I know that weekdays he is often preoccupied. But let me know if you need me to just text you the link instead of sending it to that email. So all right. So Ken is also in on the scam for Maris Crane.
And so is Natasha.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff's mom.
And even Craig, not Craig Robinson, but
Craig Smith.
Yeah, I forgot to introduce you as Will Sterling of History Rated R when we started, by the way, because despite all of your other accolades, I think that people, and I love how much Dominicus Saxon enjoys History Rated R. I do agree that you should do. I don't mean a live show like ticketed at an event. But you should do, like, for an anniversary or a milestone or something, you should do like a live streaming one so people can interact with you. Watching it. Just one.
Yeah.
Don't do like I do and burn out the premise and do it like 3 times in a week, But I think people would like to see that.
I mean, we're live streaming it right now.
Would not History Rated R.
Well, but this show.
What do you mean? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. In any case, so you might watch it with Casey, but
I listened to some of those tracks. The music is like okay in places and not in other places. So I don't know. It's I still believe it's like this Batman movie that I keep going back thinking about the Nolan Batman movies, and I'm like, yeah, we already did this. Like it just
better. Yeah.
It still doesn't feel different enough that it was needed. Like the fact that Matt Reeves said the Ben Affleck script was like him sort of more as James Bond, like going around the world using all his gadgets. I was like, yeah, that's exactly the Batman I would love to see right now, because we already did super dark and serious, including in Batman vs. Superman. And now post Justice League, he can be like James Bond Batman. Like, I'm in. That's exactly what I would want.
Like if you bought, I don't know, the script for Mission Impossible 8, okay, and then you're like, we're going to rewrite it and it's going to be a Batman movie now. And he's going to go on the same adventures that Tom Cruise would go on, but he would be Batman the whole time. That would probably be a great movie.
I don't know that people would love it, but I feel like, because I've been reading more Batman comics lately, and it's like he always has a much more pronounced inner dialogue in the comics than he does in the films.
Yeah.
And so maybe delving into that version of the character where we're really getting his thoughts and he's going through the, like, gotta get up. Oh, my bones are broken. Like, how am I going to do this? Because that's the Batman in the comics. I don't know if he'll be as viable on screen, but I don't know. I've been enjoying that version of Batman.
Yeah. I was curious when I first saw it, because it starts with him in a narration, and I was like, oh, are they going to go like all the way and he's going to narrate this? But they didn't. They just did the beginning and the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So wait, so sorry, what are you watching right now, Will? That was the question that I did want to ask, but
On television?
didn't get it right. Oh, or if you're going to the theater, either one.
I have not been to the theater in a long time. I've been watching just like a lot of Netflix documentaries as kind of like a distracting thing, so I'm not constantly overanalyzing like scripts and acting and stuff. I have been watching a lot of old Val Lewton horror movies.
Now, I don't know what that is. So
classic.
what is Val Lewton?
Val Lewton was a producer who made movies like the original Cat People. And
okay. I do know Cat People, sure.
Yeah. So
I've seen Cats. I didn't think it was a horror.
Then you must not have been paying attention.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm talking about the play, not the movie. That was horrible.
Okay. Well, kind of both, but especially the movie. Yeah.
It's just things to like distract myself, I think, as I work on other projects.
I watched the Netflix documentary about the Notre Dame football player Manti Te'o and his imaginary girlfriend, and I like kind of knew the story, but that to me, those are like the perfect like on in the background while I'm doing other things, because it's just the amount of detail of like the, we knew he had the fake girlfriend, and I think the last time. No, we didn't talk about it because, Will, you watched the one about Woodstock 99, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And this was not on the show because we recorded those episodes so long ago. There were I think there were 3 parts of a Netflix documentary about Woodstock 99. And then last year, HBO had one. And every time that there is one, I always watch it, and I love every minute because it reminds me how I was smart enough to not go to Woodstock 99, because I'm just like, that's going to be a shit show. And I had a whole group of friends from college that we had graduated the year before, and when they all got back, it was every bit as bad as those documentaries tell you that it was. except one of my friends, who I'll remain nameless, during the looting, he did get a free tent to bring home. Now, he didn't sleep in it while he was there, but at least he had gotten a free tent when there was all the looting. First of all, I don't like big outdoor concert festivals anyway. Like, I did a couple of Warped tours. I did one Lollapalooza. I would like to see my bands indoors. Oh, and if I can have a seat, I would love to sit down. I went to at the football stadium here a couple weeks ago. There was like the 80s, 90s hard rock festival, the stadium tour, which was Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett. I think I got them all right. The best part was I had a seat. I could sit between the bands. And where the Rams play, SoFi Stadium.
Oh, SoFi.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking that was an event out near you in the Valley. I'm like, there's a Burbank football stadium?
No, I do, rarely, but I do occasionally leave the Valley. I try not to, in all honesty.
The Rose Bowl is pretty close to Burbank.
What's that?
The Rose Bowl in Pasadena is extremely close to Burbank.
Yeah, but they have such a terrible infrastructure for getting out of events. I've kind of sworn off on the Rose Bowl. Had this concert been at the Rose Bowl, I would have gone. But SoFi Stadium, it's got a roof, and it's been a little warm here lately, so I appreciated that. What was your takeaway from the Woodstock 99 documentary? I'm always fascinated because, Will, I saw you post about it, and basically, and then I messaged you right away, and you clearly thought like, oh, yeah, Christian's really old. Maybe he went to that.
I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, yeah, you came to mind just because it's like bands and like an era in which like I felt like maybe you would have thought about going, or had friends who went, and you did have.
I did have friends that went. Yeah,
you had opportunities to go, so I wasn't entirely off in my estimation that you might have considered going.
Let me ask a quick question. Coltrane, did you ever consider going to Woodstock 99?
I did go to Woodstock 99.
You went to Woodstock 99? Oh, so did you have like an air-conditioned trailer to sleep in or something, or was it the shit show that these documentaries portray? Uh-oh. This is
It's like
well,
every time he's on the show, there's a problem with his Wi-Fi.
I know, but we got the answer that he went. I wanted to hear more about it. It's it's funny because you would think we're doing it as a bit. You know what I mean? Like we're just like, oh, there he is. It's all right. We brought him in. Yeah, and yeah, honestly, that lineup was not for me. It was Korn and Kid Rock,
Yeah,
and I don't know. Jeff, was there ever a point in your life where you enjoyed big outdoor festival concerts, or?
I mean, I'm honestly, I don't think I've gone to as many concerts as most people in general. But I went to that FYF Fest, right? 2016, where I saw Tame Impala and Kendrick.
Okay.
That was like outdoors, but it was like one of those, they had multiple venues. So there was like different stages and stuff. But there was a bunch of people fainting around us during Kendrick's show because they had been like outside standing all day. So they just started like fainting and collapsing. So there kept being like medical people having to come during the concert.
It's funny because the archival footage of Woodstock '99, everybody's complaining it's $4 for a bottle of water. I'm like, I wish a water was $4 at a concert. You know, it's like
but it got to a place where the guy was like, it was like $14, and they were like, wait, how can you charge this much money? He was basically like, fuck you, pay me. That's what it's like. It's like, just erupted into like lawlessness and people just like blatantly taking advantage of people. Like,
Coltrane, what was your work experience like at Woodstock '99? Were you working for Westwood One at the time, or what was your?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was working for Westwood One. It was really a fucking shit show. Like the cool part for me was that like during the day I got to be like in one of the RVs, so I actually got like air conditioning and stuff. Nice. But it was a disaster. And like fortunately we got in early all the time, so we got to avoid traffic. We actually had a bike that we were using to go from the hotel into the site. It was extremely hot. It was not well thought out as far like planned out for as far as like food and drinks and everything were concerned. And like the last day was absolute insanity. Like there's like fires in like the middle, like people are like starting fires and stuff, and like the cops were starting to come in and like move stuff around, and it was nuts. Like I actually trampled a few people like trying to get back to the Westwood One campus area so I could avoid all the chaos that last night. But
oh my gosh. You said the keywords you said were extremely hot, which is the perfect timing for us to bring in our other friend. Wow. The extremely hot.
You aren't wrong. You aren't wrong.
And by the way, since the last time on the show, the now married Liev.
Oh yeah.
So
and I left my ring at home.
I was about to say, like, are you sure it hasn't ended yet? I'm just checking.
I've survived 90 days.
Yeah,
no, not yet. 45 days.
What's the prenup? How long is it? Or not prenup?
You won't believe you're not the only person who asked that. You'd be shocked to find that out.
Annulment is what I'm thinking, actually, but that's I messed up.
Yeah, well, if I were her, I would be the one who was worried, and she wanted to protect her teacher's salary, and you not stealing all of her money from her on the basis of your career. How was the wedding in Hawaii, Leah?
Oh, it's perfect. It was the best 2 weeks of our lives. And
was it perfect because none of the four of us were there? Is that why it was perfect?
It would have been better if you guys were there.
Oh,
look at you.
I know, and I mean that. But it only 29 people came, and it was perfect. It was the best 2 weeks of our lives so far.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you, it's only going to get better, but I might be lying. The time around the wedding and the honeymoon is always the best. And Dominica Saxon is excited to see Corporate Dave. Which is the current iteration of Liev. Well, how's everything going? I understand that we were talking about Woodstock '99 because there was more another series of documentaries about it, and Coltrane actually worked there, confirming it was the shit show. But you do work a lot of live events. In fact, we visited you at one, and I don't even know that you know that I spent that evening in the emergency room after we left you at that concert.
It was that bad? You hate country
No,
music that much?
Yes, I needed them to like Clockwork Orange style, basically keep my eyes propped open, and I was watching old VHSs of Headbangers Ball to just try and process the country music out of my system. No, I felt
which
that
show was it?
Boots in the Park, and who's the truck? Yeah, headliner. Will, I can't even remember his name.
Oh God, what's his name?
Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw. Thank you.
Tim McGraw was a headliner. Truck, was the support act. Yeah, no, like within like 90 seconds of walking away from you, I fell hard in the parking lot, and
I know they had an open bar. Jesus, you didn't have to drink everything.
Now you tell me.
Know your limits. You're a dad for crying out loud.
We did pregame at Rock and Brews, so that probably had a lot.
Which I love when we all get together. We find it necessary to pregame before an open bar.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Does anybody on the screen right now find any fault with what he just said? Because that seems like exactly what you're supposed to do.
It's funny. I'm actually about to drive down to San Diego to DJ for Keith Urban. Keith Urban is a country artist. He's married to Nicole Kidman. He has a lot of hits. He's been around for some time. He's from New Zealand.
Oh, so he's married to the AMC Theaters lady?
Yeah, Nikki. But I'm about to drive down there, and I have to go through Hemet, where there's a massive fire, and then we have this tropical storm that's affecting San Diego right now as we speak. So I'm going to be driving by a fire into a tropical storm where it's just going to be pouring and thunderstorming all night.
Well, sounds fun.
It's going to be a good show.
And
it's all outdoors, and umbrellas aren't allowed.
This is the gig you're missing another opportunity for, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Remember you told me that there was something that you could do. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't know. You could have performed on.
I know. Oh,
is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell these guys, or do you not? It's up to you if you want to talk about it.
I immediately, of course, thought of Will because he did stand up and he was really good at it for so long. Yeah. And for me to get this opportunity is kind of a joke, but Catalina Island's hosting a comedy festival. It's Michelle Wolf, Dave Attell, Jeff Ross, and Dana Carvey. And for whatever reason, I talked to the right people, and they messaged me and asked if I would like to do 10 minutes to open up for Michelle Wolf.
Whoa.
To kick off the festival. 10 minutes.
No pressure. Could you do it?
Well, yeah. Immediately, I'm like, hell yeah. And they told me it was this Friday, being today. And I looked at the calendar. I already signed a contract and already got paid for DJing this Coors Light pre-party down in San Diego.
Dang.
I know.
And I think you could have asked one of us to fill in for you at the thing in San Diego. I would have even let you keep the money.
I would have if it wasn't for our corporate odyssey putting it on. And I tried. I reached out to 2 other DJs and they couldn't do it. And it was painful to have to say no to that because I know a lot of people would probably give everything to have that opportunity.
Well, here, what I think is that this is actually a good opportunity for you in the sense that you didn't have 10 minutes of comedy to provide.
I always lost at least 2.
Use this opportunity to come up with that. Yeah. Take some time.
I'm faking it until we at least reach the 120-second mark. Yeah, no, I'm still going.
Well, you're not going to Catalina, though, because they're not asking you to perform now, right?
I don't even know if that festival is going to go on with this storm.
I thought you were going to say it was the Catalina wine mixer. I was going to be really excited if you were opening up for that.
It's the same guy that puts on that festival. He puts on this too.
Nice.
I know. What a guy to network with too. And he's the one. His friend messaged me, and I ended up talking to him. Missed opportunity.
So, do you? feel like you have a good sense? Do you want to share with us if you had taken that stage, any of the things that you were going to talk about? I'm not going to have you like run the jokes, but topic wise, what do you think you would start with? Non-controversial topics. Michelle Wolf did the one and only Trump White House Correspondents' Dinner, and after that they stopped doing it for that president. So I'm sure you would have played really well to her crowd, is what I'm getting at.
She probably wouldn't have followed me on Instagram.
You never know.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I honestly, I don't know what I mean. I probably would have panicked for a whole week trying to write jokes. Probably would have reached out to you guys.
Do you think if you had peed yourself on stage, that would have gotten you more laughs than any jokes you would have come up with?
100%.
Yeah, I think that's
peed myself and then passed out. Have the paramedic show up. It would have been good. It would have been good social media.
Like it had to have been better than all those times you had me and Will show up at that like comedy place that nobody was ever at, and you were like, "Oh, I'm doing like that. I'm going to practice here," and then you never.
The Ice House.
Like Will got up, but you never got up, and it was just like.
I know. I was so nervous.
You were going to get up at the Ice House?
Or no? Was it the Ice House? Or wasn't the Ice House?
No.
God, I don't remember.
But it was just like there were like 10 people there, and Leo still would never get up and do anything.
You know what it was? What? I didn't want to get up in front of you two guys because I legitimately find you guys funny, and I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it in front of two people who I know because I'll never hear the end of it if I suck.
But
yeah, but that's what makes it funny.
Yeah,
like that's the joke. That would have
funny
been
to you.
That's the point of open mics.
Too, and we'd have more stuff to talk about. You see, it would have worked on every level.
You guys would have had lots of time. But yeah, that is the point of open mics. I wish I would have taken more advantage of that back in the day, for sure.
And
that was fun.
You haven't done stand up in a while, right?
It's been a long time. I think about it periodically as like just it was always something to do. I never wanted to like be a stand up. Right. It was fun to do as something supplemental, but I couldn't really make friends. It's a very solitary and or clicky.
Well, I'll
turns out.
I'll never forget that the last time I saw you, there was a kid who went up before you. It was like 17.
The high school kid.
And there was like his approach was, I'm going to tell jokes about like my ex-wife and stuff because it's funny because I'm a kid, and neither of those things were true.
As a concept, though, like a child doing adult jokes specifically for adults is funny.
Yeah, no, I mean the idea wasn't terrible. It was just the act that one. But Will, you opened for Dennis one time.
Yes.
And some of us were actually there to watch it.
Yeah, I think just me.
I remember.
Yeah, just me. Yeah, I watched a little from.
We tried, didn't we?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, the casino that in 2022 is now known as Yamava, but was then San Manuel.
Yeah.
It's like 70 miles from LA, but it could be like 3 hours, as you guys found out. You guys went, and you probably didn't even leave like ridiculously late. It's just, it was just sitting in traffic.
I think we got there right as he was getting off, right after you were getting off, Will. It was like literally just missed it.
That's what, because I was thinking, I was like, wait a second, I remember like going to it, but I don't remember anything like seeing him on stage there. So I was like, yeah.
But you guys got there in time to see Dennis.
Yeah, of course.
Will, you did much better.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I remember practicing that at like this little open mic place called Marty's, because you could just like get up in all these tiny little rooms and just like, because I had to do I think 20 minutes, and I just did it alone in this small room, like with a mic and a little PA with nobody there. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
I would like to have seen that more than seeing it in the big room. But
I just had to be
You were
off
always
book.
you were always one of like the top 3 performers whenever I went to one of those shows that at the Comedy Store that you did. You were always one of the top 3 funniest.
Well, thank
that's
you.
a nice thing to say. The top 3.
I enjoyed it. I feel like on good nights I got some decent laughs. Maybe one day.
You always had stuff that like you always had a few jokes in there that definitely like everyone was laughing at. So that was already like a step in the right direction. But you had good timing and everything. Yeah, I enjoyed seeing you at those shows. I mean, because the rest of those shows were a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they were.
Like the thing that I remember the most about it is like I just remember this one woman like going up on stage and you could tell she was the funniest person in her friend group, but none of that translated at all on stage, and she just kept thinking that something was going to be funny, and it was like not even like an interesting statement. It was just, and she just so like kept going, and it was just like, yeah, this hurts a lot.
My friends say I'm the funny one.
Somebody told her she was the funny one, and it was not nice of them to do that.
Yeah, you should stand up. You're so funny.
Oh God! Even like her group of friends were like trying to laugh, but they couldn't get there because it just wasn't funny.
I don't remember her. Saw a lot of crazy people though. A lot of crazy acts.
What do you? What was your big takeaway from it? Of getting out there and doing stand up? Will?
I mean, it's a confidence booster for sure. It's a public speaking gig. Technically, it's like you're out in front of a bunch of people. What's funny is that like I was more confident and comfortable in a crowd, like a big crowd at Dennis's show, than I am in a room of like 3 to 4 people who are not paying attention to you, who are like in their notebooks. Like that crowd feels more nerve-wracking, funny enough. But I mean, I enjoy it. I know I like to entertain people, and I like to entertain people live. So maybe I'll go back to it one day.
One day, Will. But Jeff, did you ever get the privilege to see Will perform live?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Just
well, it's been that long though.
I started doing it. I think I did it straight for about 7 years because I started in college and then ended in like 2000.
And now you don't do anything straight. So
nope.
Oh wait, Liev, you're okay. So in the background, I've spent this time. I can drag the picture and share it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and share just by holding my phone up.
Oh,
so
yes.
This is after the concert, and I'll get this picture where we can see it better. But Will and I.
Did you get COVID? You fell and got COVID? What happened?
No, the hospital did make me wear that mask. This was back in March. I don't know if you remember, Leah, but back in March, COVID still existed. Not anymore. But
not in country concerts.
No, but this was a hospital in Yorba Linda, which, by the way, where now COVID definitely doesn't exist, but back then it did. So. So I took a nasty spill, and Will was very kind, and he stayed with me a lot longer than he needed to. And I was like, you should really go home. It's been a long day with an open bar.
Did you hit your head?
Very, very hard. And it was gushing blood at one point. I actually still have a scar from it, which apparently has never gone away.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, how happy was Heather?
Oh my God. She was so glad. I actually didn't tell her because she was working. Like she had a script to write that night. So I didn't even tell her till the next morning. Cause I'm just like, what's that going to do? I was staying.
I drank too much and fell in the parking lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's really what the story was going to be. And like Liev was here. So, I was hanging out with him. So she would have been like, all right, so obviously you got too drunk. Although I watched a chunk of the Super Bowl with you, and I did not get too drunk that day. So obviously I'm occasionally able to show some restraint, but that was not the case there. So, but I was staying in Yorba Linda, so that's why Will drove me there, and my father-in-law had to come get me. So I let Will go home. That was really the key. But you know.
Good.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Definitely too late for an annulment in your marriage.
What's that?
Definitely too late for an annulment in your marriage.
Oh yeah. So I think that this is a nice close up of
oh my God,
our visual listeners, and yeah, Will, how do you remember this?
It was. It's so bad because it's like I don't want to laugh because you were obviously like very hurt, but now enough time has passed and you have
I'm
no
not
serious
anymore. Yeah, I'm not.
random-
It doesn't still hurt. Yeah,
I
so
just
it's okay.
remember you were in such pain,
Oh
but
my
it seemed
God.
like you were pissed at me because you kept going, God damn it, Will, God damn it.
I know it did.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck, Will.
God damn it, Will.
I know, because let's remember, you pushed me. That's actually what happened.
I was like, wait, what did I do? You're like,
No, obvious. And I explained to you, I'm like, no, I'm not mad at you. I was so mad at myself because it was just, it was one of those little dividers in a parking lot that I tripped over.
Yeah.
And honestly, what should have happened was that I was being dumb, looking down at my phone and like texting, and then I tripped. I don't even have that excuse. I was just
or been
stupid.
drunk.
Yeah, no, I wish I was drunk and texting on my phone, because then it's like, oh yeah, well, obviously that happened. And no, I was just dumb. So yeah, so Liev is
by the
looking.
way, Tim McGraw is at Boots in the Park in San Diego tomorrow night, and I have tickets for all of you.
Okay, yeah, no, we'll come down.
Oh, I'll definitely be there.
Truck, yeah.
Well, oh yeah, who's the Truck Yeah guy though? Luke Bryan, right?
Tim McGraw.
No, Tim McGraw didn't sing Truck Yeah. It was
Yeah, he did.
It was not Tim McGraw's the headliner. This was the second build guy. I think that's Luke Bryan.
Tim McGraw sings Truck Yeah. Christian, come on.
This
you
doesn't
remember a
sound
certain
right.
person coming into the bathroom afterwards saying, if I was a chick, I'd fuck the shit out of Tim McGraw?
And at that moment, Liev left. Yeah, you're right. It is Tim McGraw. I'm sorry. My mistake. You're right. It's Tim McGraw. Yeah, no. Yeah, Liev had a friend at this event, Jeff and Ken, who, let's just say he was going through some issues. He was like, the more he drank, the more honest he was about saying things like, if I was a girl, I would fuck Tim McGraw. It was like, it was definitely some liquid courage that was, but he said something really, really disarming to Will at one point, but I forget what it was. What were you going to say, Ken? Sorry.
No, I think that's more of he was sort of saying if he was a girl, then Tim McGraw would actually give him a chance. But being a guy, he still would have done Tim McGraw.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this guy would have done him either way. But
but
we're not gonna. We won't get into too many specifics of Liev's various friends. You probably don't even remember who was there that day. But this.
At least I didn't fall in the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. Tim McGraw didn't fall in the parking lot.
I feel like I win this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So if people want to catch you at, is this also a Boots in the Park event, or is this just a different?
This is just a concert.
Oh, okay.
And I do have to get going, but it's good to see all y'all's faces. And congrats on having more episodes than you do viewers. I think that's really great.
I do say that all the time. I wish it wasn't true.
500 each.
But I'm very glad that you were able to visit with us. We miss you. And
I miss you guys too.
I still have a few $100 on that gift card to Rock and Brews. So
we're going.
Maybe next time we'll just go there and not do it as a pregame. And I don't know. Maybe I'll have to figure out how I can avoid falling in the parking lot. Leah, have anything you want to plug, or as usual, you don't want anybody to find you, right?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, we love you, and best. I would say congratulations to you on your wedding, and condolences to the unfortunately current Mrs. Liev. But she seems to like you, and you know what? That you tricked her, and as someone who tricked a spouse that is far out of their league, I understand completely. So I just tip my hat to you, sir.
Thank you. I'm moving this weekend, but I'll be in touch soon. It's closer to you guys, so.
Oh
wow!
So
all right, I want to hear that story.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right.
Shut up. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Of course, Ken, as soon as you show up is when Liev is like deciding to crash the party. That was like literally like 2 minutes later, he shows up in there.
There was definitely a part of me that was going to see if he was going to show up before I did. Because I was out and I just got back in when I dropped in the text. But yeah, I was wondering, like, maybe I wait till Liev gets here because I know he'll show up at some point.
Coltrane, I know that since the last time you were on, you and Will went to a game at Fenway, and Will talked a little bit about that. How much of the time did you spend having to explain baseball to Will?
What?
I just wanted to say it, Will. It's fine. You know, it's really.
Will was okay. Will was there. He was there with the sports games.
And Will you have a Red Sox hat now, right?
Oh yeah.
You have the Red Sox hat. You have the Dodgers hat.
Yeah.
And I think you have a Padres hat too, right?
I've got a Long Beach, an LB.
Oh, I like that. That's actually nice. Are they the Dirt Dogs? Is that the name of that team?
Dirt Bags.
Oh, even better.
I have 49ers technically, but I think
so how was that experience going to Fenway with Will and the alleged spouse that I'll choose to believe is real?
It was a good time. It was very nice to see Will. It was great to actually get out to Fenway and go see a game. That was also a nice touch. I mean, it was like there were a lot of like Casey's friends from school that were there. So like, she was talking to them some of the time too. So there was, it was time that I could catch up with Will, which was nice. It was overall a good time. I'm glad it worked out and we were able to go. It would have been nice if we could have got you there, Jeff. You were missed.
See, you were missed. I love that. But and the Fenway Frank, thumbs up, thumbs down. I assume you had one, Will?
I think I did. I got it from this place called Savinor's, which I know is like a butcher shop, and I think it was called the Fenway Frank. It was great.
It inside the stadium? Yeah. I mean, because
it was inside the stadium.
Okay. And look, I think that we could probably all agree that nothing's worse than the Dodger dog.
I only had one in my life, and it was many years ago, before when it was still whoever it was.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put this into terms that I know you can understand. It is the Buffalo Wild Wings of ballpark hot dogs.
Oh, okay. All right.
But oddly enough, unlike Buffalo Wild Wings, not boneless.
God.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it looked like you guys had fun. And,
we did, yeah.
There were a couple of good pictures from that. I guess it's a bit of a lost season for the Sox up there in New England, but I saw that Dennis Eckersley is I don't know if he's retiring, but he's not going to be doing Red Sox games anymore, and it's just all going to shit this year in that sense, I think. But
this year actually kind of sucks for me with sports because like every team that I like is either not that good or I'm just not as interested in. So the only benefit I have right now is in college football. I don't care as much about any specific team because there is no Emerson Lions program. So I can just watch good games and there's that. But otherwise, I'm not excited about the Patriots this year. Liverpool sucks. The Red Sox.
Wow, and then they're not allowed to play for like at least a week or two. Like none,
which is the only benefit because at least they can't lose this week. But it's not that bad. It's just close. And it's disappointing because, of course, the reason that I'm a Liverpool fan is because they're owned by the Red Sox group. And so now it's like both of their teams are not doing well this year. And it's like, fuck.
Yeah. But would you get some solace, maybe just a little bit of it, if the Yankees were to lose a 15-game lead and end up being a wild card team? Which, as we're talking, they're 4.5 back, having been, I think, 16 up at one point.
That would definitely, it would take the edge off for
a little bit, yeah.
It's never bad when the Yankees lose.
I couldn't bring myself to watch the Derek Jeter documentary on ESPN just because I get it, but I did see the clip, where he was talking about seeing after the Red Sox won in 2004, and Manny Ramirez holding the sign that said Derek Jeter is playing golf. And he just talked about how upset that made him. And I'm like, well, good. It should, because like when somebody's playing, they'll never say something like that. They'll never comment on it. But I'm like, oh, I like hearing that. I'm like that. I might watch that episode of the Jeter documentary, the 2004 section. I don't need to watch them three-peat, in the World Series. I'm not interested in that at all. But that might be fun to watch. Did you watch any of it, Ken? Or yeah. But now that I'm talking about that part, is that a clip you might try and find?
Yeah, that I actually would probably go back and look for. So there's that for sure.
Well, what are you watching these days, Ken? I know that 90 Day, you were the first person I knew who was in on it, and I'm always fascinated when I hear about it. Not enough to watch, but I love the concept of it. Are you still in on that, or is there something new? There's always something new with you that I'm interested in hearing.
Honestly, over the summer, I have unplugged a bit more than usual. So now it's like I've spent a lot more time with family and friends and stuff. I'll just I go on like a 5-mile walk every day, and so usually I'll just listen to YouTube videos where it's like someone like reading like Reddit stories, so like revenge stories or am I the asshole stories, malicious compliance and stuff like that. They're all kind of funny, so I'll just sit there and like walk around the track like listening to that stuff because it's very just disconnected from everything. It's just like you're listening to like random stories that are kind of funny.
What I like about that Reddit, and I don't use Reddit, but I'll see it posted on Twitter. The am I the asshole? It's usually like within a paragraph, instantly they are definitely not the asshole, or oh, you are absolutely 1000% the asshole. There's never like in between. I'm like, let me think about it. It's usually like the best ones are when everybody around them is legitimately the asshole.
True.
I do.
It's also funny when they like really believe that they're right, and like everyone is sitting there like saying, "No, you're the asshole." And they're like, "No, but what about this?" And it's like, no, nothing you've said has changed it. You're an asshole. Everything about the situation is you're an asshole. I don't know why you're trying to justify it because you're an asshole. Those I find funny too because they keep trying to like, no, but if you look at it like this, it's like, no, there's no way you can look at that and you're not the asshole. So I like those. I find them funny.
One of my favorite quotes is, if you meet an asshole in the morning, you met an asshole. If you meet assholes all day, you're the asshole.
Wow. I like that. Wait a minute. I do meet a lot of assholes oh, fuck. That's me. Jeff, do you think life can be more full without having a social media presence? I envy those who don't sometimes because there's probably more time for other pursuits.
I mean, it definitely is better than scrolling. I feel much better when I delete them and I don't get stuck in the trap of scrolling through bullshit. And you go like, holy shit, I've been wasting an hour sitting here looking at absolutely fucking nothing. So definitely better.
There's the early in the pandemic is when I realized I'm like, oh, I need to it wasn't even called doom scrolling back then. I need to not go ahead and do one more pass before bed because then I will never get to sleep.
Yeah.
It was just there's a lot of excuses for it, but I can't imagine waiting in line somewhere now and like I wish I could do so, like take out a book and read something. I wish I could be more constructive, but instead it's like, what is going on? Who is the asshole?
Well, that's why I bought books on the little, right? You got your iPhone. They've got the Books app. So you buy a book. And then when you want to scroll, you actually just read a fucking book scrolling.
I do listen to a lot more like podcasts and things when I'm like out and about, and I find that that's at least entertaining. Does anybody prefer audiobooks? Do you, because my wife, we were having this conversation. She's a very slow reader. So especially when she has to read things for work, she's taken to audiobooks and just it's like you can actually get through them. And some of them are produced like little radio plays, But does any of you have an affinity for them? Coltrane, I'll ask you first.
Yeah, I actually like them, especially when I'm on like long distance trips, because you can just like put it on and you're sitting there driving. It's like you're able to like kind of focus on both, and you realize that you're picking up the whole story as you're like driving stuff. So it takes some of the edge off of like the length of the drive and everything. It makes it a lot smoother. So definitely like doing like any long distance driving, books on tape or audiobooks are like great.
What about you, Will? You did a lot of driving around these United States this calendar year. Did you have some audiobooks with you?
I did a lot of audiobooks. Yeah, I enjoy them. It's also like those books that I'll do is like usually if it's like a celebrity reading their own story or when it's narrated by like an actor that I like or something. But I usually do audiobooks when I know it's books that I don't know if I'm super slow or super fast as a reader, but like not everything I want to like study the text. Some writers I want to like look at the pages, and like Stephen King. I've only ever done Stephen King books via audiobook because they're so long and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to want to move on. So like and they're great. It's great as an audiobook.
Yeah, you were talking about the person who wrote the book. A few years back, David Spade was going to be on Dennis's podcast, and so I listened to his book as an audiobook. It was basically like a comedy album. I mean, so it was like, oh yeah, that's the way to do that. But Jeff, you strike me as somebody who prefers a good old fashioned book. Do you like a paper book? You're okay with digital? Does it matter? Some kinds of books are better one format or the other.
I mean, I think a physical book is always nice to have because then you've got something tangible as you make progress through it and stuff like that. Obviously, I think as I was mentioning, I have books on my phone, so I don't mind a digital book because it's literally something to replace when you're sitting there like, oh, I've got to wait for my oil change. Instead of being on Facebook, I'm reading a chapter in my book or something like that. So it's just a lot better. I'm fine with audiobooks. I grew up, we would take a lot of trips to Maine for skiing. So it's like a 5-hour drive to Sunday River. So we listened as a family to a lot of like classic books on tape. So it's like I grew up, we listened to all the Godfather books. We listened to like Jurassic Park. We listened to like a bunch of big, meaty ones that were also movies, but like classic novels. So I always have enjoyed that. And then at Bad Boy School, we were, if you were really bad, you did this thing called worksheets. And it was, you would sit in this little room and you'd have like a crayon and you'd have a 30-question test. And you'd listen to a tape that was either one of the world's 100 greatest books or world's 100 greatest people. So it wouldn't necessarily be the book on tape, but it would be a full explanation of who the characters were and what they did in said book. And the questions would be out of order. So you had to really listen to the whole thing so you could know exactly what it was, because the more you got right, the more worksheets you got off.
Did any books or people from the bad boy period of your life really, sort of make an impression in that, like, wow, even in this setting, being forced to do this, seemingly as punishment, I'm really impressed by this person or this story? Like anything that all these decades later, you're like, wow, this really impacted me having to read this.
I mean, not reading it, listening to it, but
sorry.
And one that I can easily remember was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, just like going through the actual story and being like, wow, this is not what I think of when I think of Frankenstein. So that was always really fascinating.
Just to interject for a second, Will, do you think that there is possibly 1 or 2 special episodes of a podcast he might be interested in if he's a fan of that work?
Yes, both Motivation Report and History Rated R. We do we cover Mary Shelley and Frankenstein. I agree. That book, when I first read it, I was just like, it's this classic. I know that I hear the movie's not like the book, but we'll see. And yeah, genuinely just like changed my life. It's great.
I'm sorry, what was another one you were about to say? I just wanted to help Will cross promote.
Yeah. The other ones I remember, I don't remember as distinctly, but I remember listening to a lot of like your Russian classics like War and Peace and the Brothers Karamazov and stuff like that. So it's like things I probably wouldn't have read on my own. So I appreciated that I at least got like a, more elaborated Cliff Notes version of it.
I've never read War and Peace. I would have needed to go to bad boy school to basically be forced to take it in. In the live chat, my pal Eric Connor, who people know from excuse me, from Marvel Movie Talk and also the Bladtcast proper, points out anyone can do 500. 503 is the real achievement. And we do have a video that Eric has prepared. But before we get to that, I mentioned at the top of the show that this is the one with the cameos. I do have some cameos to share with members of Bladtcast Nation. There's a few of them. So if anybody wants to go and sit out this portion, but each of them is like under 2 minutes. So I think that everybody should definitely take in the first one, which comes from our friend Dominicus Saxon. He will explain to you who he is, and please let me know if you can't hear. But as I told Jeff, I tested it out and it worked fine before we started recording, which of course means that once we're going, no one will be able to hear it. But here is our first cameo, courtesy of Dominicus Saxon.
Hey, Christian. This is Larry Wilcox. I used to play John Baker on the television series called Chips back in the late 70s and early 80s. And I just wanted to reach out to you and wish you good luck. And I know you're going to get a break here soon for work. And your buddy Saxon has his fingers crossed for you, and so do I. And, you can get on Facebook and ask me or email me at LarryDWilcox@yahoo.com.
Oh, it's out there
the
now.
D is D-E-E, so Larry D. Wilcox. It's all one word at yahoo.com. Who knows, maybe I can find something for you. Not sure where you live, but I just want you to know to keep your chin up and be confident, and always try to improve yourself. If it's on LinkedIn, take a course here and there on LinkedIn. You can take little courses and be done in an hour that simplify different software apps. And so you can put on your resume that you are capability of different things. And there's all different ways to improve yourself. So that's the most important thing. So anyway, buddy, hang in there. Good luck, and I'm rooting for you. John Baker, 10-4, over and out.
Yes.
Well,
it feels
what
like
I prefer about that, if anybody who worked on the Dennis Miller Show, remember when his partner on Chips, Eric Estrada, was on, he took a leak during the interview. So I appreciate Larry Wilcox actually being seated and not relieving himself. And Dominicus Saxon did give us the comment. This was meant as a short joke, but Larry kept going and going. I actually prefer that he really tried to help me career-wise. Because honestly, he's not wrong. I could definitely do some stuff on LinkedIn. I could probably take a course. Our friend Matt and KC attempted to get an amazing cameo from Greg Sestero, who is Mark in The Room with Tommy Wiseau. The Mark of "Oh, hi, Mark."
Yes, yeah.
And for reasons I don't quite understand, he was unable to do it. And I was like, what could Greg Sestero possibly be doing that he didn't want what I assume was $50? Just to record a cameo. So instead, I really appreciate the randomness of our friend Matt and KC, who, by the way, has also sent me another gift card for Bevmo. So we'll coordinate a drinking show at some point.
Yeah.
I guess you guys can, I don't know, I'll Venmo you some of the money. We'll figure it out. I'll Venmo you some Bevmo. But he chose, in lieu of giving me Greg Sestero, he went with comedian Fred Stoller. And let's hear what he has to say.
Hi, I'm Fred Stoller. Maybe you know me as Fred Yerkson Seinfeld. I understand. Christian, congratulations on 500 episodes of, I hope I'm saying this right, the Bladtcast. Podcast. Bladtcast. You gotta forgive me if I get confused and stuff with names. Oh, I don't remember meeting you, Christian. Wow, we met at Katie Ash's party? Not ringing a bell. We talked by the bathroom door. The bathroom door. I remember someone played tic-tac-toe on the bathroom door and the X's won. They won diagonally from the top left to the bottom right. But Matt says we met. I don't remember. You know what I have to say about you reaching 500 episodes? You're lucky. At least you got something to do. It's like better than when Jerry's foot fell asleep. Well, Matt and everyone else wanted this to be festive and upbeat. Congratulations. I'm depressed, though. I got a new shirt, the button fell off. Once the button falls off, that's it. I'll never fix it. So I hope you remember me as the guy who couldn't remember Elaine, but all 500 of your episodes are memorable. You like how I tied that in? Congratulations again.
Thank you to Fred, because everyone at the Bladtcast really appreciates it. I like that he's just like, look, maybe you know me from Seinfeld. Right there, that those are two great ones. And I appreciate anyone spending any money on it. Our friend John Nolan from Texas, aka the Raging Rhino himself from the Raging Rhino Pod, he went for something that is going to appeal really just to me as a fan of the New York Mets, specifically from the late 90s and early 2000s. He got former second baseman Edgardo Alfonso. And here's
how
what
you
he
doing?
has.
This is Fonzie from the batting cage. I just want to congratulations on your 10 years of the pop culture music. Music, man, you deserve it. So 500 episode on your podcast, man. Nice. Looking forward to see another 500, man.
Let's hope.
I just want to congratulations on that because you well deserve it. All right. Thank you so much for being a Mets fan. I know it's going to be special for the Mets fan this year because they have a great team. So hopefully they can go all the way. Because fans like you, man, deserve it to see something better. All right. So Christian, I wish you all the best. Keep going, man.
Definitely something better.
Like I say, for the 500, and then let's go Mets from Fonzie all the way here, from Staten Island to you, brother. Congratulations. God bless you and give you many, many more years to enjoy your culture music and your pop culture music and your popscast. Okay, from Fonzie to you. And this big buddy, Bodie Johnny. I want you to enjoy. Congratulations,
yes, that
Christian.
is from John. Yeah.
None of them know how to stop talking. They're like, when they want to end it, they do another minute because they're like, anyway,
is there a minimum? Is there a minimum length to these?
So the answer is no, there isn't actually. There are so somebody like Floyd Mayweather, they'll do like 15, 20 seconds. And I've heard like comedians who talk about it, they feel that the least they should do is like 2 minutes. And then you don't want to go crazy and do them too long. I've bought a couple for friends and not been disappointed in the ones that I bought. I bought one for early on in the pandemic. My best friend John he got COVID like at the point where it was like scary to hear that somebody like in like April of 2020 he got COVID. So I got Angelo Moore, the lead singer of Fishbone, and someday I'll have John on the podcast and we'll play it. He actually like wrote a little song while he was sitting there, which was cool. And ironically, for her birthday one year, and we did this on the show, I got our friend Zia a cameo from Chip Chipperson.
No, not a real person, so you can't get a cameo from them.
Thank you. And yet now, years later, she co-hosts the Chip Chipperson podcast with him, who's not a real person. So I feel like she owes me $69, which is, yes, what it cost, because if you know Chip at all, that makes perfect sense. And it was great. And I think it gave her an excuse to write to him again. And then she ended up doing his podcast. So you're welcome. Zia was unable to join us today, but I did text her yesterday. I just heard that this is what I texted her. I just heard that the Queen of England passed away. And my first thought was, why couldn't it be you? And she really appreciated that. And I know that Will, you've never really been able to understand my friendship with her. It's always been very questionable to you and questionable to me. But she did also write that she wanted to make it today, but she can't. She doesn't. She says, I don't want to be there for you, pretty much just for Will and Jeff. But congratulations on 500 episodes.
Oh, nice.
Somehow a few people still listen. That's nothing short of a miracle. So, so she's not here is basically the takeaway from that.
It seems like you had a missed opportunity there, Christian. You probably could have said, I heard a saggy old bitch died, and I was really sad it wasn't you.
You can follow her. You can subscribe to her OnlyFans, Zealand.
Don't you ever pitch my OnlyFans, huh?
You don't have one, do you?
You don't know. I could.
I would. First of all, Liev would be subscribed if you had one. Yeah. And I appreciate this. Cam Egan says, the love you and Zia have for each other is the cornerstone of all friendships. Absolutely. And by the way, not often in the live chat is our friend Matt and Casey. Sorry, I'm late. Glad to see that the gang back together. And is Ken on the Sterling diet, pain and gain style? Ken, you've been getting on some pumps. I guess that's Matt's nice way to say you're looking cut.
Yeah, I've in the last like year and a half or so, I've lost a bit of weight. I as like a lot of people during the pandemic, got bigger than I wanted to be, and then I just kind of.
I never looked back, by the way.
Yeah, it was just once people started saying that sunlight was good and vitamin D was good, I was like, that's a good excuse to get out of the house and go walk. Yeah. And then like I said, I'd listen to Reddit stories and everything, so it was good.
Well, and it's great to see Matt. Matt, we did already play your Fred Stoller video, and we were talking about how, for whatever reason, Greg Sestero wasn't able to join us. I do have one more cameo. I have two videos courtesy of our friend Eric Connor, but this is a cameo he got. And I don't know, Ken, you're the only one that might connect with this at all. Fans of the Howard Stern show will know Fred the Elephant Boy. And I really appreciate Eric not just getting a cameo from Fred the Elephant Boy, who always seems like a good-hearted, lovable individual. What I really appreciate was him not buying a cameo from High Pitch Eric. That would have upset me because I don't think you should fund his lifestyle. If the individual popularly known as Eric the actor were still alive, that's who I would have wanted, but he's gone to the great Ak in the sky. So let's take a look at Fred the Elephant Boy.
Hello. This is Fred the Elephant Boy with a cameo for Christian, book by Eric Connor. Christian, congratulations on your 500th episode of your podcast, the Bladtcast.
Said it better than Fred Stoller.
And it gets in line. I can give you a bit appreciated. But I don't really have a standby line, for the only thing that can come to my mind is when I was at war with High-Pitch Eric. I said to him, Eric, the aquarium code, they want their wire back. Stuff basic like that. And my special for the Clifton Riley is one of the greatest. If you call back to it, I went downstairs to introduce the cast, but nobody gave me headphones, so I could not hear myself when I was speaking to the mic, and I was in competition with 10,000 screaming maniacs, so with that, I have to shout like a Benzie, not Benzie, a Banksy, and embarrass myself, but it meant for great radio. Despite what happened in Cleveland, the thoracic game was no, they cut up to what happened after the rally, so we did not know what was happening during a bus trip around Cleveland. So thank you again for being a big fan. Baba Booey to you all.
And what better way to end it than with Baba Booey to you all?
Yeah.
Very much appreciated there. And like I said earlier, I love the idea that Fred the Elephant Boy was actually the one who he chose to give the money to, because as Eric points out, High Pitch Eric cost twice as much. Dominicus enjoyed that. Is there a transcript? I did my best. And I think the blame cast is actually what this should be known at. And I put some of these up while we were watching, but for our audio listeners, Matt wants to know if he's going to hell for laughing at this. I mean, he's been on radio for like 30 years. I think it's fine. And Eric says, I'm already there, Matt. All of us in the Valley are. Yeah, it was 105 earlier this week. Third best 2 minutes and 30 seconds I ever paid for. And Matt says that's 2 minutes longer than the best thing I've ever paid for. So I love when people bring shtick into the show. But Eric also produced something really nice. And I started to watch it, and then I realized, like, oh, I should watch this on the air. I made sure that it played, and I got a few seconds into it, and I'm like, oh, this is like a nice little montage that he did for 500 episodes of the Bladtcast. So before we run out of time, but let's be honest, that's not something that actually happens. We don't run out of time. But before even I feel like I got to start to let people go, I do want to play the last video that we have here from Eric, and this is 500 episodes of Bladtcast.
Look at that.
Great memories.
Not Green Day is the time of your life playing.
No, he chose generic copyright-free music, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Hey, Christian, congratulations on your 500th episode of the Bladtcast. I'm really fortunate to have been able to been on many panels with you, as well as your own shows that you've hosted, and it's just always a pleasant experience. You're one of my favorite people to talk about nerdy stuff with.
Hey, Christian, happy 500th episode. I just want to say I so love doing Star Trek after shows with you, and I'm so excited for you to celebrate your 500th episode. Keep up the good work, keep doing what you love, and keep making all of us smile.
Christian is my favorite trash person who lets me be my trash self around him, and we go get into trash stuff like trash food and trash conversations.
Christian Blatt, 500 episodes of the Bladtcast. I'm going to do the one thing that you don't do on the Bladtcast. I'm going to keep it short. Congratulations, man.
Hi, Christian. Congratulations on your 500th episode of the Bladtcast. And before you say it, nope, Hillary is not about to announce her run for the 2024 election.
I wouldn't be surprised if she did.
First off, congrats to 500 episodes. That's amazing. I just want to take this time to thank you for everything you've done, Christian. You opened the door for me, allowed me to talk about superheroes week in and week out, and many other people. Talk about their passions, be able to be them, and without being apologetic about it.
Michael Shirley, comments redacted.
Happy New Year! 500 episodes of the best dang podcast on the planet, Christian Blatt. Gotta say, you know what? Hopefully you get 500 more because you are killing the game right now. And well, you're an inspiration for new content every week. Congratulations, buddy.
Hey, Christian, it's Jonathan. I just want to say congratulations on 500 episodes of the Bladtcast. I need to start watching my back because in another couple hundred episodes, you're going to catch Geekscape.
And I might.
It's 2 a.m. Why am I editing this?
Congratulations, Christian, on 500 episodes of the Bladtcast. Over the hours and hours and hours and hours of content that we have created together and podcasts that we've done together and Marvel that we've talked together. Some of my favorite memories.
Oh, she's actually being nice.
Good job.
Oh yeah, because it's Christian Blatt, and it's 500 episodes of the Bladtcast. Thanks for letting me be part of your Ed Wood-esque family of miscreants.
Congratulations on your 500th episode of the Bladtcast. Coming from the other half, the silent half of the Bladtcast, that means that I actually own 250 of them. So
True.
Happy 250th episode to you on your side of the Bladtcast.
She's not wrong. Well, that was very nice of everyone who got involved.
That was great. I'm very happy that he kind of cut what I did exactly the way that I hoped it might be used, because I was like, is this going to come across as like a rude video? Because I really was like, I don't know. I'm glad that it worked out
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And boy, I don't know how to close the screen. Oh, there we go. We got it. Oh. Okay. Well, that was great. And yeah, sorry. So apparently
really, really great work, Eric.
Yeah, that was very nice. And apparently Lucy has a tummy ache at school. So we were going to be ending it momentarily anyway. So, yeah, so that'll take care of that in even a moment. Cam Egan says, great job, Eric. Matt says, solid montage. And Eric says, shucks, thanks all. Much appreciated all around. That was fun. And, great to always have things to talk about with each and every one of you. In any case, I think an hour 32 is more than enough, even if Lucy's tummy was feeling fine. Coltrane, we appreciate you sitting in. And, I think the next time there's another documentary about Woodstock 99, we'll talk more about it.
Sure.
I think that's...
it wasn't good, but yeah, good.
Yeah. Jeff, you had mentioned, we were talking beforehand, you had started the Lord of the Rings series, and it's all right. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just kind of, would you tell people who only casually like Lord of the Rings that it's worth watching? That's the takeaway that I want to have for here.
If you have nothing else to watch, if you casually liked Lord of the Rings, you may casually like this, but I don't think it's nothing like special, but it's not terrible. They clearly spent the money, so they didn't make an awful production.
Yeah. No, the amount of money they've apparently spent. I have a friend of my wife's has worked on it literally for years. He moved his whole family to New Zealand to work on it pre-pandemic, so they got to live in New Zealand during the pandemic, which is apparently one of the places that was relatively normal. And now they've moved to, I think, London, but somewhere in the UK, because that's where they're doing subsequent seasons. So it's we know that it's been a massive undertaking. And my thoughts on Lord of the Rings is I'm good with those stories one time, but I couldn't even get past the first Hobbit movie. There was 30 minutes that I liked where Bilbo and Gollum were doing riddles together.
The Hobbit movies are awful. They don't count.
Yeah, I just couldn't. They took the shortest book and turned it into 3 movies, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to tap out at this point.
The good news is they have thousands of years to work from.
Right.
They're doing with Lord of the Rings what I want Star Wars to do with itself.
is go away.
Well, if they did this for Star Wars, it would go to the High Republic, because this is like an established canonical age that led up to the age of our main stories.
I just want a far future or far history Star Wars movie.
Yeah, well, the show that I think they're going to announce this weekend at D23 with the lead from Squid Game is going to be in it. It's like 100 years before the Phantom Menace. I would like a few thousand before, because I know there's that much like Jedi history, but I'm like 100 years before. So there should be no Skywalkers in it. So I'm like, all right, that's at least intriguing. I don't, might not be good, but I like that they're reaching a little bit further back, so we'll see. And I don't know. What I don't have time for is hate watching. And so people who like, Will, you don't think you're gonna like She-Hulk, and I've said that people who see like the billboards for it and go like, that looks like the dumbest thing ever, you should certainly not watch it.
Yeah.
And I think people who did watch at least one of the Lord of the Rings and they didn't like it, you do not have to watch the rest. That's the beauty of it. There are so many other things. I was telling Jeff that I was gonna start Lord of the Rings and just my head wasn't there, so I started watching Sandman on Netflix, and I'm enjoying that so far. I'm not very far in, but I'm interested to see where that goes. So I'm like, I think I'd rather spend more time there. I'll get around to the Lord of the Rings, but for now,
the Lord of the Rings, like the Hobbit movies, I watched all of them, but I literally could not tell you a single thing about any of them. They were just
honestly, I think most people feel that way. Like Return of the King, like won all those Oscars that year. And then it's like, you probably ask most people, did you see that one? I'm like, I don't think I saw the third one. And then they return the third. And Dominicus Saxon said, I'd be happy if I never heard the name Skywalker again. And Matt and KC says, Jeff DeRay with the honest take as always. Jeff, I believe you've been known to always keep it 100. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, Dave Chappelle actually featured me in one of his When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong.
Nice.
Well, I appreciate everybody for keeping it real for so many of 503 episodes, and I'm sad to report, not done. People have talked about, there are a couple of wishes for 500 more. There's going to be so many more than 500 more. So there's probably 5,000 more.
Here at the Bladtcast, we're just
over here at the Blamecast or the Bladtcast. Yeah, exactly. Will, let people know where they can find you and also History Rated R.
I am at Will Sterling _ on Instagram and Twitter, and History Rated R is the podcast. Listen to it. It's a fun, goofy history podcast, and we drink martinis and talk about stupid things.
Dominicus Saxon says, thanks for being here so long, guys. Even Dave. I don't know why he keeps going. I guess he means Liev. Cammy Egan says, watch House of Dragons. See, there's the thing. I never watched Game of Thrones, so I won't watch House of Dragons. I heard that there was a graphic forced cesarean section in the pilot, and I'm like, yeah, why do people keep watching these things? I mean, did you watch House of Dragons, Jeff?
Mm-hmm. I've watched them all. It's good. I enjoyed Game of Thrones, though.
But you liked Game of Thrones, so
but I was like, I came and went with it, right? Like I started watching it, and then I was like out, and then I watched a few seasons, and then I stopped, and then I binged a few more seasons to the end. So far it's good. They've got Matt Smith as a really central character, and he's doing a really good job as Daemon Targaryen. So it's super violent, a little less rapey, but a lot of implied nasty sex with like children and shit. So if you liked Game of Thrones, keep watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that makes sense, but it's sort of what I'm saying is like people that are tired of Marvel, don't like Marvel, think that She-Hulk looks stupid, don't watch it. I'm not a Game of Thrones guy. I'm barely a Hobbit guy. I'll probably check out the Hobbit show, but not till after I finish Sandman. And I would say that the last time we talked, I hadn't made it through Severance on Apple TV Plus, but I did finish it, and it was actually great. It's very slow to get into, but I enjoy it. It's fantastic performances, very interesting concepts. And did you watch Severance, Jeff?
Yep.
It has the love story that I didn't know I needed in my life, but I absolutely did. And for people who saw it, two actors I'm talking about, but for anybody else, I'll leave it out there for you to discover on your own. History Rated R at Will Sterling _ Neither of you have social media presences or preferences. So we appreciate you both being here, and we will have to do this again soon. We've taken up an hour and 40 minutes, so I feel like that's like a 2 episodes worth quota, but we'll send out the proverbial Blatt signal soon, and hopefully we'll all be back together again soon. More new episodes next week. Stay tuned. And we'll see what the next 500 has in store for you. But until then, don't forget to subscribe. And I'm just remembering that I had Farad Muhammad record like an outro now, so I don't actually need to do all this. But for our visual listeners, subscribe to the Bladtcast YouTube channel, BLADTCAST, and the audio version. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. That's all the time we have for now. We'll see you next time. That's the perfect one to end the celebration of 500. There, and I did it twice, so that's it. We'll see you next time on the Bladtcast.